Hello, friends, and welcome back to Stories About Entitled People. Today we have 3 great stories for you. The first is about a bouncer in a bar, the second is about Grandpa in the Army, and the last is about our beloved Karen. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're new here and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Here we go. Don't be an a-hole to the guy letting you into the bar. So I work the door at a bar in my town on weekends. It's a pretty busy downtown area, and on Saturday nights we check the ID of everyone that comes in just to cover our own butt. So this 24-year-old looking lady comes in and I ask her for her ID. She immediately goes on a tirade of, "Do you know how old I am?" I explain that it doesn't matter and I have to check everyone's ID as that's our policy, along with the policy of almost every other bar in town. So all her friends give me their IDs without any issue. Finally, the angry one gets her ID out and touches it to my face and says, "See, I'm effing 30, and it's my birthday today." So I politely respond with, "That's nice, maybe you should act like it," and she loses her crap telling me how much of a D I am. And I told her she didn't need to come into the bar if she didn't want to, and she told me she'd be wherever she wanted to be, and this is where she's drinking. So she goes to the bar, and I tell the bartenders to make her wait as long as possible before serving her, and then to only serve her once and cut her off. She stood at the bar for 20 minutes or so before finally getting a chance to order. She orders one shot and then goes to order a drink. The bartender responds with a smile, "I'm sorry, ma'am, we're going to have to stop serving you. You appear to be drunk." She freaks out and tells her friends they're leaving the bar. But the best part is, all her friends were having such a great time and didn't want to leave. So she ended up leaving by herself on her birthday. And our second story, Grandpa versus U.S. military. Setting the scene. A week after graduating college, first in his family, Grandpa, a very gentle, non-confrontational guy with kind of a mischievous streak, gets drafted into the U.S. military for the Korean War. Act 1. During basic training, he forgets to wear his glasses to target practice. His sergeant refuses to let him leave until he hits the target at least once. Grandpa is a decent hunter, but now he can't even see the target. They're out there for hours. Finally, the sergeant comes up and tells him he hit the target. Grandpa checks the target. The hole was made from the other side, obviously by the sergeant himself. Act 2. Grandpa and his friend are told to go to San Francisco and to take a boat to Tokyo from there. When they get to San Francisco, they see a long line to get on the boat. Grandpa's never been to San Francisco before. He convinces his friend to visit the city with them instead of standing in line all day. They have a great day and come back to port in the evening. The boat is already left. They get yelled at. A lot. Act 3. The U.S. military finds out that Grandpa learned how to use a typewriter in college. Instead of sending him to fight, they let him stay in Tokyo as a secretary to a general. The general keeps sending him out to get things signed. It's hard to get people to listen to a non-officer, though. That's what Grandpa tells his boss when he complains about how nothing seems to get done. Next thing he knows, Grandpa's been promoted. Now he can order people to sign his forms. Act 4. Grandpa finds out that 1. U.S. soldiers in uniform ride Japanese public transport for free, and 2. If he donates blood, he gets the weekend off that week. He starts donating blood every single week and travels all over Japan on the weekends. And that's how he met Grandma. And our last story. Karen calls the cops on my cousin, so I get her business closed down. Background. My cousin, 23-year-old female, recently opened up her own salon. From a young age, she taught herself how to thread and wax eyebrows and developed an interest in makeup and hair. Everyone in our extended family would go to her before events and on a monthly basis for their threading, waxing, hair, and makeup needs. In 2020, she had a full-time job, non-salon related, but decided to renovate the basement of her home to create a small salon space. She now spends her free time there taking clients in her at-home salon, and there's nothing but great reviews. Her sister helped with the renovations and now helps with her marketing the business, social media, community pages, and I help with the finances, budgeting, price setting. We all support her and are really proud of her. The salon is our baby. We're now in the middle of a pandemic, and this greatly affected her salon business. As a result, she implemented safety measures, and our small team made sure to keep up with COVID regulations in our city. This included having one customer inside at a time, doing temperature checks, making masks and face shields and gloves mandatory, wiping down the salon after each client, etc. Also, when our city was in lockdown, the salon was closed as it's not an essential service. Incident. Our city is once again in lockdown since the end of December to the end of January. The salon has been closed since the lockdown began. The salon's social media pages had been updated to let the current clientele know that the salon is closed. Now comes the Karen. Karen sees a community post from October detailing a discount that the salon was having on a certain package we offer. She comments on the post saying that she can't believe the salon is open in the middle of a lockdown when her salon has to be closed. This is important for later. Karen fails to notice that this post was made in October when salons were allowed to operate as long as they followed safety regulations. Karen doesn't bother checking more recent posts indicating that the salon was closed. My cousin doesn't see her reply at this time. The next day, 2 police officers show up at my cousin's door while she's at a doctor's appointment. The officers ask for my cousin, and my aunt lets them know that she's not home right now. My aunt does not speak English very well and lets the officers know that she would call my cousin and ask her to come home. Maybe the officers didn't believe her, but they insisted on coming inside the home. My aunt had already called my cousin as she was worried. My cousin asked what it was about, but my aunt didn't know. My cousin then asked if they had a warrant for anything. When she found out they didn't, she told her mom not to let them come inside and that she'd be there in about 20 minutes. My cousin began driving home when my aunt called her to let her know they simply left. Hearing this, my cousin was less worried and decided to go grocery shopping as planned before heading home. Turns out the officers came back half an hour later and once again demanded to see my cousin. My aunt called my cousin again and asked her to come home, but in the 20 minutes she took to come home, the officers were gone. They'd left a card and asked her to call back. My cousin managed to get a hold of the officers and was told that someone had reported her business. They claimed that she was operating during the lockdown and they had proof. My cousin knew this wasn't true as the salon had been closed for quite a while. By now, my cousin had seen the comment from earlier and mentioned that she knew exactly what their so-called proof was, but the post in question was from October. My cousin was very upset as this post was not even close to being actual evidence of her operating now in January. She was also upset that they insisted on coming inside the house with no cause or warrant when they could clearly see that my aunt does not understand the language very well. At the end of the conversation, the police officer apologized to my cousin, and we thought that was the end of it. You must be wondering how we know that Karen was the one who called the cops. Well, she told us. The next day, my cousin received a message she realized was from the woman who commented on the post. Karen decided to pretend like she's a customer. Karen, can I book an appointment? My cousin, hey love, we're currently closed due to the lockdown. Once the lockdown's over, we'll be more than happy to book you in. Oh, my GF was there yesterday. My apologies. My cousin, you must have gotten the date wrong. The salon is not taking clients until the lockdown is over. Thank you. No problem, but I didn't get the date wrong. LOL. I also know the police came due to you being open. Take care. My cousin, I'm not going to sit here and entertain your boring life. Maybe for a change you can find another hobby rather than spreading lies and wasting people's time, including the police's time, or even better, find an actual job. Have a good night. I own a spa that's closed, as should yours be. My mom is the one who called the cops. You're not entertaining me at all. Go back to your own country instead of effing with ours. My cousin decided to block her at this point. My cousin was happy this was all over. Her sister and I were still outraged at her comment and how someone could make up lies about a small business that led to the cops terrifying my aunt. When my cousin told me about Karen, the fact that she had her own spa really stood out. I did some digging. Revenge. Turns out Karen runs her own spa out of her house. Doing some more snooping, I found reviews from her clients on her business page that were posted on days that the city was under lockdown. The reviews could be from clients who received services before the lockdown and only now had a chance to write a review. To be sure, I found Karen's Instagram page and decided that I'd use her own trick against her. I created a new account with a generic name and followed her page so she couldn't see that I was related to my cousin. I then messaged her to ask about the prices for her services. Me: "Hey, love your pics. I was wondering how much you charge." "Hey girl, thank you so much. What services are you after?" "I'm really interested in the BB Glow facial." "That's awesome. My biggest seller for sure. Normally it's $125, but it's on BOGO, so you pay for one session and get two." "Oh, that's a great deal compared to others. What's your next available date?" "Where are you located? I can't have people come to me in lockdown, but I travel to my clients." Karen was not operating from her home location due to lockdown restrictions, but was traveling to her clients' homes, which is still against regulations. I then made up a lie about my home not having adequate space and asked for her address so we could meet up at my friend's place somewhere between her and I's locations. She foolishly told me her address. During this time, I also tried joining other community groups that she was a part of. In one particular group, people in the community were promoting their small businesses. She'd recently made me post about discounts on her services for the month of January. I immediately went online and submitted a report about her business still operating, including screenshots, her address, full name, etc. A few days passed by and I'd forgotten to check up on it as I was busy with life again. I saw the incident report number on a sticky note I had on my desk and decided to check in. Apparently, this was not Karen's first offense. Karen had already been fined $750 for having a client in her home during the first lockdown in my city. After being fined, she decided to change her business model and go to the client's home instead. Now she was fined $10,000. I was still following her on Instagram, so I decided to check it out. She'd gone on a rant about how she was going to do very bad things to the person who reported her. She also mentioned that she was no longer allowed to run her business. I'm not sure what type of ban the regional police put on her, but I immediately deleted the account and exited the groups I joined earlier. At the end of the day, Karen got what she deserved, and I fulfilled my dream of pretending to be Sherlock Holmes. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.